Hello, dear students. Welcome to the Bajirao IS Academy. Today is 1st December and we will discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. So, in today's session, we have three issues in discussion. And the first issue is related to US allegation against India. So, what's the US allegation is and does these allegation will impact India US relation? We will understand. The second issue is related to simultaneous election. What will be its pros and cons? Although we discussed this article, but there are additional points to understand. The third issue is related to rise of ethnic group against Janta. This issue is related to Myanmar ongoing conflict. Okay, so one by one we will understand. And if you are new to our channel, kindly subscribe, like, share, and also please share with your friend circle. Okay, now we are shifting to article discussion. Let's start. The first issue will be covered under GS paper 2. Okay, so to understand the first issue, you need to get into the background. So what's the background here? Recently, the US Department of Justice in its 15-page document charged against an Indian national, and that Indian national or the Indian official is not known who that person is, but there is allegation that this Indian official, that is codenamed as CC1, they contacted Nikhil Gupta, who deals with illegal drug and the illegal arms trade in the US. Okay, so this Indian official CC1 contacted Nikhil Gupta to hire an agent to kill Guru Patwant Singh Pannu. And when we talk about Guru Patwant Singh Pannu, he is a pro Khalistani separatist and got an American citizenship. And when we talk about its historical background, so once he was an Indian citizen, but now in the Indian laws, he is facing the terrorist charges. Okay, so Nikhil Gupta hired agent in America to assassinate Guru Patwant Singh Pannu. But what happened that the agent which Nikhil Gupta hired was belonged to the US intelligence officer. So this led to the decoding of the information regarding the assassination. And that's why the charge get framed against Nikhil Gupta, and now he is under custody of the US. Okay, so that's the point. But the story is not over here. You need to understand that the Indian official, that is codenamed as CC1, is still not located. But the US is charging against India that maybe the Indian government has its linkage with respect to this Indian official for plotting assassination against Guru Patwant Singh Pannu. And that's why the news came, and also after this news, Canada become confident that whatever I was saying regarding India's role or India's involvement is true, and hence proper investigation needs to be done. Okay, hope you understood the whole issue in a simple manner. And with respect to this issue, what is India's response? So India declined its involvement, and they said that this is very serious issue, and to follow up we will take an inquiry committee to be established to find such allegations and to rectify such allegation. And one thing that Indian government also clarified, that ordering covert assassination is not a government policy. Like here you can see, hit job is not our policy, says India on US charges. And remember, when we talk about Canada issue, so in previous month, you know that there was killing of again a pro Khalistani leader, that is Niger, in Canada. Okay, that's why Canada, when visited to India in G20, they also alleged the Indian authority regarding its involvement. But India denied all of that and also said Canada that please do actions against these separatists because these are disturbing our internal security. Okay, but when we talk about its impact on India US relation, so you know that the behavior of India, the reputation of India is of soft power, and if its allegation comes true, that will lead to decline in the reputation as a consistent and credible power. Okay, and it can also impact India's tie with all Five Eyes intelligence partner country. Who are these Five Eyes intelligence partner? So these are grouping of five country that involves United States, the UK, that is Britain, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, that have the close coverage of intelligence sharing, and India do utilizes intelligence data given from these country. Okay, so that can directly impact, but at the same time India should also ask US or Canada that if these person are designated as terrorist in Indian laws, then why you are not keen on extraditing to India who are facing the terrorist charges? Despite we have good relations, we have the treaty of extradition, but you do not contribute. So India should also ask these questions. Okay, so hope you understood this context in a detailed manner. Now we are shifting to the next article is related to the simultaneous election. To understand simultaneous election, we have discussed lots of article. In simple term, simultaneous election means one nation, one election. Okay, and that means we have the Lok Sabha election and the state legislative election that should held simultaneously, that is on the same time. But what we see today that every year some or the other states are involved in election. Okay, so that are not simultaneous. So because of the this consequence, okay, there is the certain issues we will discuss in a detailed manner. But tell me, who in India is responsible for conducting these elections? Yes, you are seeing the picture. The Election Commission of India. Tell me also, does Election Commission is a constitutional body or non-constitutional? So when we talk about some of the historical background, so this is not the first time that we are trying to promote simultaneous election. When India got independence and the first election held, so till 1969, we were in the mode of simultaneous election. Okay, because there was only single party, that is the Indian National Congress, that was participating in the state election as well as in the national election. But you know that after 1969, regional parties came to the power along with emergency provision implemented, also presidential rule, and there was prior dissolution of the state legislative assembly. So this led to the backdown of simultaneous election. Okay, and now only four states namely Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Arunachal Pradesh, and Sikkim, to have the simultaneous election that matches with the Lok Sabha election. Okay, and remember this for prelims as well. So, when we talk about arguments in favor, so first of all, what will be the benefit? Like it will reduce the massive expenditure for the state and the central government. And the second argument is like it will involve the less frequent deployment of security and police force on election duty, because every year election do happens, like we are seeing in the Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. So the security force is being deployed. Also the officers which is under the administration also gets recruited, also gets deployed. So this can lead to the concern to the national security and maintenance of law and order. So the simultaneous election can give respite from this issue, along with enforcement of the code of conduct that leads to the stoppage of ongoing developmental project or new projects, because it is against the moral code of conduct. Okay, and because of the frequent election, the government or the political party try to incorporate populist scheme rather than long-term investment in the primary sector. And also these popular schemes burden the state exchequer or the state fund. And along with the simultaneous election can lead to the lesser role of money in election, because campaign finance of party will come down, because once in 5 years there will be a campaigning in case the simultaneous election happens. Otherwise every year the parties, the candidates do gets involved in the campaigning, and this requires financing. Along with it will reduce the pernicious role of regionalism, casteism, communalism that candidates and political parties apply to gain votes to mobilize electorates. Also the sense of fatigue among the electorates. And when we talk about against arguments of simultaneous elections, so first of all, it is anti-ethical to the federal spirit, because many of the states was not contacted. Also, there is a higher chance that the national issue and the regional issue will get converged, and the national issue will come into the priority, and hence the candidate and the voters that are voting for the candidate, they may favor the national interest, and they can vote the party which is in power. Okay, so that's another issue. And even the simultaneous election may not lead to the saving of exchequer, because the simultaneous election will require large scale purchase of electronic voter machines, voter verifiable paper audit trial machine, that is the VVPAT. Also, rather than sagging the enthusiasm of the voters, keep them enthused because of the regular participation in the election and the discussion. And also the frequent election, you know, that increases the accountability. So these are the arguments. But also there are legal and constitutional issue, because when there is the introduction of simultaneous election, the constitutional provision needs to be changed. Okay, and hence at least 5 articles in the constitution shall need to be amended, like article 83 clause 2 and article 85 clause 2 that deals with the dissolution and duration of the Lok Sabha, and also articles 172 clause 1, article 174 clause 2, which also deals with the duration and dissolution of a state assembly. So they needs to be removed. Okay, and not only that, Supreme Court in its SR Bomai case judgment 1994, they declare that judicial review of precedent rule is possible in case there is the misuse of the emergency power. Okay, so let's say if the Supreme Court in its judicial review, they declare the presidential rule as illegitimate. That means the state assembly will resume. Okay, and there is a need of amendment as per the article 368, which requires a special majority both from Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and also requires consent from half of the state. But when we talk about the Rajya Sabha, currently no party have even simple majority in Rajya Sabha, so the passage of this bill may become very difficult. Okay, so we have discussed the second article. Now we are shifting to the third article. Okay, so you know that in Feb 2021 in Myanmar there was the change in government regime. Okay, so before Feb 2021, that is before the military junta occupied Myanmar, there was the government led by Aung San Suu Kyi, and the party she led was National League for Democracy. Okay, and this party and this government promoted democracy, promoted people's right. But after the military takeover, all the democratic rights got vanished. These leaders were shifted to jails. Okay, and there was huge protest in Myanmar by the people, by the leaders who were pro democracy. But the military junta, which is also known as Tatmadaw, they applied harsh method to control the protest and led to the military coup and several loss of their life. We know that. Okay, but now there is a change in the Myanmar civil protest. What's the change? The change is various ethnic groups in Myanmar, they are rising, they are forming group supported by National League for Democracy, and they are challenging this military junta. Okay, and you can see that Free Brotherhood Alliance, that is the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, Tang National Liberation Army, and the Arakan Army. These are, along with other ethnic groups, are contributing, are merging to itself to rise against the Myanmar military. And not only that, there is evidence that these ethnic groups are capturing the region that were earlier occupied by the military junta, and they are also making prisoners to these military junta. Okay, they are seizing the region. So what these ethnic groups want? These ethnic groups want the constitutional provisions needs to be implemented, peace should prevail. Okay, and the national unity government who is working in exile, okay, they are also contributing, promoting the rebel militias against the military junta. Okay, and they are trying to end the military junta rule. Okay, so here you may observe that since the military coup in Myanmar, India's response was not very active. India even didn't criticize this like a sudden takeover of military junta, and this is because of India's national interest. You know that when we talk about Myanmar, they share borders with Indian state, and also Myanmar is also closer to China. So because of the national interest, India was kept silent. But now India should review its ties to the junta because India has supported democratic reforms always in Myanmar. Okay, so that's the end of the article. Hope you understood in detail. And now we have a session of prelims question. Kindly solve this question by pausing the video, okay, and try to give answer in the chat box. So friends, that's the end of the article. If you enjoyed our lecture series, please do like, share, subscribe, and also share with the friend circle. Have a nice day. We'll meet again with the next sort of issue. Thank you, friends.